God damn it, EA. You can't even get a friggin' Star Wars game done correctly. Yo, what is up guys, it's Tyrannix1 here and welcome to another game review after so long. This time I'm beginning this whole review spree time part of myself. I'm going to begin with Star Wars Battlefront and the first one that was made by EA, and for the first Star Wars Battlefront game that they made, it is awful, and I mean awful. If you compare this game to the original two Star Wars Battlefronts, it is really, really bad. And there's not even a campaign in it. And you'd think EA, being the corporate arseholes they are, would actually have the brains to put something like this in. But they haven't, because they're dumbasses. And what they have for you in this area is a survival mode, where you fight against various enemies through various waves, doing a bunch of stupid things, like claiming these pods where you can get like special weapons to fight against the enemies, or you can just run around finding these stupid diamond collectibles that can give you like some sort of XP bonus, but it's shit really. And this is real, and the AI even in this game mode are really crap. You probably need to play this game mode like harder and master just to have like some sort of challenge. And even then, you have like this tutorial and all the multiplayer modes where you can just play against the AI, but that's pretty much it for your offline section if you don't have any internet or any online capability. And that's pretty damn shit when you think about it. And so yeah. And what's really even more annoying about this game is the fact that it only concentrated on the Galactic Civil War. True, we all love that section of the Star Wars franchise because it's from the original trilogy, but you'd think to put the Clone Wars in there. I love the Clone Wars section. True, the Clone Wars, or the prequel should I say, wasn't a brilliant part of the Star Wars franchise, but the Clone Wars was amazing. Getting to play as clone troopers or playing as droids, the vehicles, it was all very well done in that section. But no, they just decided to concentrate on the Galactic Civil War, fighting with the rebels against the Empire, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, it sucks ass, the fact that they only concentrated on one section. That isn't Star Wars, that's just corporate fucking greed and just taking advantage of the fans, thinking they're gonna get something amazing. And really, they're just gonna get a pile of shit. Well, it's a it's a clean pile of shit, but it's still a pile of shit. Now, if you think the mechanics are going to be very similar to the original Battlefronts, you were very wrong, in fact. EA have decided to try and make this a little bit more like Battlefield, but in a more Star Wars fashion. Actually, even then, I don't even think it's even like Battlefield at all, it just has that Battlefield feel, because of, well, pretty much how it works. But yes, how it works is, well, at least you have the first person and the third person changes that you have in the original Battlefront games, which is probably the only thing in this game that's like the original Battlefront. Now the thing is, you can have like only one weapon at a time, along with 3 special abilities, which are like cards. You have like 2 heavy attack types or something like that, which is like either a thermal detonator, a special sniper, a rocket launcher, like a bunch of other things, and these can all help you out in some ways, along with having like some kind of card ability, which can only be used a limited amount of times, like a personal shield, or like a few other things where your weapon could become more destructive against vehicles, stuff like that. The thing is, these cards, they work, but when it comes to balancing the whole game in matchmaking, it doesn't work whatsoever goddamn ever. It's so annoying when you go into a match in one of the smaller game modes, where you have people who have completely upgraded these cards to the fullest and are like gold status. It completely wrecks the whole point of the game when you can have fun in it, and it just becomes a pain in the ass to play. And again, I didn't play this game day one, in fact. I've only been playing this game for like probably a month at most. And it's unbearable to play in a match where all the enemy team players have like completely fully gridded cards, and it ruins everything. what's interesting is the fact that you no longer have limited ammunition in the game either, and that was the thing in the original Battlefront. You had limited ammunition and you had classes and stuff like that to help you out, like you'd have limited health, where you'd need to find Bacta tanks to heal yourself, ammo canisters to recharge your ammunition. None of that stuff is in here. There's not even like gonk droids or medical droids where you can heal yourself or resupply ammunition if there's no teammate around. I hate how there's none of those nice little features up there in this game. Well, they're there, but they're just really shit. So yeah, the way weapons work in this game is that you can shoot continuously until they sort of burn out. Sort of like in the original Mass Effect where you have a limited ammunition, but you have like the heat limitation to it. And that's pretty much the same with this game, but instead, when you overheat your weapon, there is a little mini game where you can sort of quickly speed up the cooling down process, and it depends on how good your reflexes are, and I have no idea. But weapons-wise, the weapons perform good, I think. The weapons at least perform in a good way, but I think some are a bit overpowered. Some are pretty damn overpowered. A lot, especially like Boba Fett's rifle or Han Solo's pistol. Those can be absolute pain in the arses going up against some of those guns. And I hate it when guys are just running around with weapons like that. It just ruins the whole fun of the game. But yeah, you can run, sprint, unlimited sprints at least, I think. You can't go prone in this game. Sucks, which was also another staple piece for the Battlefront game, the original Battlefront games. And it's a hell, you can't even go in vehicles as easy. There isn't vehicles just randomly scattered around, like in the original Battlefront. This time you had to find like this little icon which gives you the chance to go into one of these vehicles, and that's if you're lucky. They're in specific points, and anyone can snatch these at any point and just ruin your chances of playing the vehicles. The vehicles operate, I think, well, the ground vehicles operate nicely. The air vehicles don't work for shit, to be honest. I used to be good at flying a snow speeder in the original Battlefront games on the Hoth levels. This game, they're horrendous at the flying vehicles. It's impossible. You can't even, like, help your teammates on the ground without crashing or kamikazing into something. And, yeah, it's like, wow. Look, I didn't realize how bad the vehicle mechanics are in this game. But yeah, there's like other things scattered around the map too, like special abilities and stuff to increase the amount of the cards you have. Like the special ability one, like the golden ones. And you can also have the chance to find a hero icon too, which allows you to play one of the game's multiple heroes, like Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, Boba Fett. So you have those guys, but those are like the beginning characters. There's only like 6 heroes altogether in this game originally, if discounting the DLC. The amount of content in this game lacks quite a lot, because there's not... Originally, this game hardly had any game modes, or maps, weapons, or even customization. The customization in this game is terrible too, and the fact that you had to pay the amount of points it would take just to unlock a lot of these items was horrendous. It'd take hours just to grind for like a goddamn gun or a card, and that's just one of those things. And it depends on how well you do in these matches as well, and how good your team can be, because if there's an enemy team kicking your ass in like Walker Assault or even like any of the smaller game modes, you're not gonna get a lot of points, even if you are trying your best. Which comes back to the unbalancing section of this game, and it really doesn't do it very well. Like I said, the game modes, there is like... I can't even remember how the original game modes were, apart from like Walker Assault. It's the only one I can kind of remember that was in the original, that was originally there, apart from the DLC stuff. I mean, even with all the DLC stuff, the game still feels like it's lacking a lot, but that's because it only concentrates on one section of the Star Wars saga, which is the Galactic Civil War. Now, yes, the maps are big, and they look nice. I mean, quality of the content is not the best option to go for in a in a game like this, especially a Battlefront game.
Bombers have launched and are on their way.
And the way these game modes are, it's like I said, some of the game modes have you can have more players, some you'll have less players, like the cargo dropper or something like that, and or cargo droid, I can't remember. But there's multiple game modes in this game where you have like a select amount of players in them. But there's the ones with the smaller game modes. The smaller game modes are the worst ones. Trust me, you want to be playing like Warcraft or most of the time. At least that you can have some enjoyment with it. And the smaller ones are just shit, really. I mean, the game modes game modes wise, they're decent, but they're shit to play around in. And yeah, there's a lot of things wrong here. Like, there's a lot of things EA got wrong here. I'm not even gonna say anything against DICE, because DICE are the ones who had to basically do this shit for them. It's all EA's fault here, to be honest.
Get to the uplinks.
Now, despite all the bad stuff about this game, there are some good points, surprisingly enough. Now, the game looks amazing. It has pretty much got the maps, the weapons, because the look of the game, the look of the Star Wars universe correctly, it has done it incredibly well. Even the sounds, too, are brilliant. And I really like that bit. And the game does work in some areas. Like, mechanics-wise, like the star cards and the weapons, they do kind of work well together when you get used to them. That if you get rid of the unbalancing, this sort of system can work. Considering that you'd need points to unlock the cards. I don't know if there were any microtransactions or not. I cannot technically tell. I have looked around. But if there were, it's not as ridiculously stupid as Battlefront 2's. But yeah, I think mechanics-wise, the weapons and stuff, and the cards, they do work okay together. The maps themselves, as big as they are, they're actually quite nice, to be honest. I like the style of the maps, but that's pretty much it, really. Like, the graphics and the sound, the soundtrack, and some of the mechanics are pretty much the only good section of this game. And true, you can spawn in on your partner, which is something you can do in the Battlefield anyway. I don't know why, but there's this little freaking statue area. I don't know why that EA put in there for some reason. I mean, probably just to make the game last a little longer so you can collect stuff. But that's pretty much it. I just don't see why there's a memorabilia of something area. It's ridiculous. But customization wise is lacking very much. There is nothing really. Like, trying to create your own rebel soldier is not going to be as amazing as you think, and it's the same for stormtroopers. You can't even there's only like different variations, and even then you have to get to like the highest levels just to unlock all the good shit. And even then, the ranking system is done very poorly in this game, and yeah, and even the way the heroes work in this game aren't done too well. It's like you think you're gonna have some epic lightsaber battles with Luke and Vader. Hell no. It's broken to hell, the lightsaber fights, and even then the heroes can be a bit overpowered unless you concentrate your firepower on them completely. So yeah, there's not much that can be said there. But yeah, Star Wars Battlefront, the first one, is a very, very poor attempt at trying to recreate the original Battlefront's glory, and EA probably didn't even create like 30% of that. Like, this game quickly dried out for me it dried up very quickly for me. Like, the first few Walker Assault matches were okay and pretty fun, and then the fun really started to wither away when I was trying to get the clips for this game. And yeah, especially when I started seeing how long it was taking just to unlock weapons and customization and stuff. This game is purely there for grinding, and I don't like games where you have to grind exponentially a lot. If I can like get stuff every so often, then yes, it's fine. But if it takes like probably a whole day just to get something, then no, I'm not gonna take that shit for granted. That's a poor way of doing this kind of thing. Especially considering there's not even a campaign for me to go on for this game. I'm a very big Star Wars fan, and EA have pretty much destroyed it, and I love the original Battlefront games, especially Battlefront 2. But the fact that EA couldn't even produce something like that when they already had the basics there, it astounds me how ridiculous they can be. And this game is 2 years old, pretty much. It's only 2 years old, and it just shows that this game is not aged well at all. I mean, surprisingly, there's still people playing it, which astounds me. Probably not anymore since Battlefront 2 is out, but then again, who knows what's happened to the Star Wars fanbase after these two Battlefront games. But, yeah. The first EA Star Wars Battlefront is a shitfest of a game. And apart from having good graphics, sound, and some of the mechanics actually working, it is mostly a pile of trash. So overall, I'm going to give Star Wars Battlefront a 3 out of 10. So, next random video.
Enemy now within scanning range. Shock troopers armed with heavy blasters incoming. Enemy coming within range. Won't soon forget that. We've sent you a drop pod.
We have the location of another pod.
Be ready.